Hey, everybody. Welcome to CC and TV. I'm your host, of course, Captivating Christian. And tonight, um, I just felt like after, of course, being outside and everything happening today, and then, I don't know, it was just on me to talk about it a little bit, to just get some perspective on the assassination attempt on former President Trump today at his own Trump rally. That he doesn't allow for the participants to be, patted down for weapons and things of that nature because he wants them to carry if they feel the need to carry. So I don't know how I feel about it. Granted, I will say that, of course, I don't, the violence part of it, definitely don't condone that at all. I think either side, whomever, it's one thing to beat someone, votes and in debate and all that stuff. That's perfectly fine. But when you take it to a different level, there's consequences to that. Even when you're just telling it to your base to kind of get them revved up, right? There are people who take this stuff to heart and really enact on violence. Look at January 6th. So it works both ways. You don't get to incite people to do shit like destroy the Capitol and don't think that on the reverse, the same shit you're inciting can come back to you in some way, right? So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe next week we'll be talking about it didn't happen. But I will say this. The part of me, the conspiracy-ish part of me said, oh wow, what a time as this for this to come out this way. For someone to attempt to assassinate him right after these Epstein files drop and his name is all in the shit. It's not one or two trips. There are plenty of phone records because back in those days, the secretary or person wrote down who called, the time they called, and a number, if so, to call back. So all that stuff is logged. So all that stuff got exposed last week. And now this, and of course, we've been talking about Project 2025 for a week or two. So all these things have kind of been putting a different spin on former President Trump and his re-election bid into the White House. So much so that he has denied even knowing anything about Project 2025, which of course is again a lie. And it's almost like the guy who cried wolf. Like, again, I can look at this and still kind of think, there is a way to spin this. I mean, if you've watched movies like Wag the Dog and all these other things, it's unfortunate and it's sad, but people do come up with these ways to change the flow of things. If it's too hot on the campaign trail and they feel like, oh, this may be a problem, there are ways to change the perspective of people, change the perspective of the whole mood of the country. Look at, for example, George W. Bush. He wasn't doing so hot as president. It wasn't that great of a time for him. People had a lot of questions due to the Gore situation when he ran against him and Gore. And, people weren't really feeling it at all, like at all. What happened? 9/11 happened. 9/11 happened. After 9/11, did anybody question him? Did anybody, kind of fight back any decision he made? Not at all. They let him do whatever he wanted until it came back that the people that they were going after wasn't necessarily the ones who orchestrated 9/11 to begin with. Then people started having questions. But before then, they let that man do whatever he wanted. He could do no wrong on both sides of the aisle. So it has been done to have the country rally behind a person, a president, anything, when something ain't quite going so well. Look again, Reagan's attempt when Reagan was shot back in the 80s. People hated Reagan. They weren't fans of Reagan economics. He wasn't the greatest orchestrator of the Republican Party until his assassination attempt. Then, Reaganomics was the best thing ever, and he's the greatest president. But it wasn't that way. So that's all I'm saying. Like this, granted, it's a bad situation. No one should ever lose their life over any kind of political campaign. But we do have to be honest and call things that are true. Look at Gabby Giffords. You had Sarah Palin sitting up there putting crosshairs on Democrats. Crosshairs on Democrats to have them executed, shot dead. And what did one young man do? Go into a town hall meeting with Miss Giffords and shoot her. Thank God she lived, but she had to step down from her seat. Her husband wound up taking her seat, and then now still he's now the senator of that state. But it's like you can't do, and they always do this. They always incite it. They always increase this thing of violence and fighting back, and this is our country, and almost like the new Revolutionary War. And then when things happen, it's like, oh, this is the bridge too far. No, it was a bridge too far when you was talking about jailing Hillary Clinton. It was a bridge too far when you was talking about, if your vice president didn't do what he was supposed to do on January 6th, then if he, whatever needed to be done, needed to be done. That was a bridge too far. Yeah, Senator of Arizona. Yeah. But it's crazy. We always get to these points where it's like, oh, now it's a bridge too far. No, it's been that way. It's been that way. And I know for some, you're a champion of this guy, and that's cool, whatever. Like, I'm not knocking how you feel about the person that you want to vote for. That's not what I'm knocking. But what I am saying, let's look at the facts on the table. The facts on the table are this. When he got in the office and Obama requested extra security because their death threats were still happening at a greater rate that even, they didn't warn the people or tell the people the great threats that they were having. What did he do? He cut their security and said, well, my family needs it, so we're cutting security to the former presidents. Cool. It's his right to do. As the president, you have every right to your predecessor to say, well, you don't need this, and no, you can't use this plane to go flying around. You got to buy your own or charter your own. They have a lot of kind of say in what the former president gets to do. So now here we are in a situation where Trump did ask for security or extra security and things of that nature, and the State Department did deny him. Yes, but he put it in place. So, what I'm saying? Like, you can't put something in place and then go, well, now that it's my turn and I'm now the former, I want to reinstate the full security. No, it don't work that way. That would be up to Biden. And if Biden chose not to do it, then it didn't happen. But, and then too, the state he's in. Why didn't Pennsylvania pick up the tab to get extra security to do whatever needed to be done for his rally? I can tell you why, because the man doesn't pay. And that's not a oh, the people pay. No, you got to pay for that. Like, you pay for that. Trump and his people, they don't pay anything. So there are a lot of states that are stuck with bills that they still asking since the 2016 for him to pay for the extra security that they pushed out for having extra people overtime and things of that nature that haven't gotten paid. So it's a real tough thing. It's not as simple and as cut and dry as a lot of people like to think. There's a lot of underworking and things that happen that people don't, they don't really pay attention to. Again, it's sad that somebody would even attempt to take someone's life. That's always sad. But at the same time, we're not gonna act like he hasn't been pushing for that. Even when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. I mean, it's always funny when it's somebody else until it's you. You know what I'm saying? And then now it's like, oh, now he looks like a hero. If you look at him holding his fist up, he looks like a hero. I'm glad he's not hurt. But that still doesn't negate anyway I feel. Other people maybe so. But that part of me that's like, you needed something big to have people not talk about Project 2025 and connect that to you, or the Epstein files that drop and connect that to you. What could you do that would bring these people to be like, well, stop, we're not talking about that no more. We're going to talk about this. What else but assassination attempt? And oh, you got some blood too? Oh, that's even better. So I mean, it's just it's real crazy. It's real crazy, and we're not gonna sit here and act like in the grand scheme of things of politics, a lot of things get done to move the country right along. I'm sure if Bill could start a war, Bill Clinton would have started a war just so people could stop talking about Monica Lewinsky and a blue dress and the white woman who recorded the whole conversation with Monica when she was telling her the business. I'm sure of it. So it's just sad. In the state of affairs that we're in, you can't call on violence and then not expect violence to show up, even if it shows up for you. Like the saying goes in the good old book, your tongue is lethal. It's like a double-edged sword. Yeah, what you put out can come back and stab you. So, you got to be mindful. Yeah, it sounds good to, get people riled up and, oh, yeah, lock them up and people need to be executed. It sounds good and dandy. But when you start saying people need to be executed and all that kind of bullshit that you're talking, all that is coming back to you too, because people start looking at you like you need to be, and you end up in situations like this. Just keep it on the issues. What can you do for the country? Name it, call it out, say it, have a platform and a program, implement it. But you can't even do. I mean, I haven't heard of anything. I've read the 2025. If that's an indication of what programs are headed, I feel bad for people who aren't white, because I don't know what we're going to do. And yeah, that old thing is, oh yeah, we used to this. Yeah, we may be. We may be. That don't mean we always got to live in it. We don't always have to live in it. And I really kind of always think that the people who really sacrifice, and I think sometimes we've become so kind of numb and blessed to the fact that we didn't have to sit at lunch counters. We didn't have to go in places that said colored only, or, be treated really less than human. We didn't have to go through any of that. So we don't really know what it was like for them to go through that and then want to still say, you know what, this march or this sitting I'm doing may not change for me, but it'll change for somebody after me. I think we've lost that. We've lost that whole concept. Everything is just about, well, I ain't worried about who's coming after me. Let them get it however they get it. That's crazy. If they thought like that, we wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't be here at all. I personally don't think so. If they was just like, we're just gonna, I'll just stay in my station. There's nothing else for me to do. I let the people behind me figure it out. We wouldn't, yeah, we wouldn't see anything. We wouldn't see anything at all. Now, again, I urge you, please read the 2025 dossier. Read it. And the big thing you'll find out too, if you really do some digging and some research, all those people in that think tank, majority of them, they're not even from here. They're from China. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But yeah, it's corporations are just trying to make this country and the world the way they want it. And if they could just have you working and they just get more and more profits while you labor and suffer, that would be the best for them. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, West Pennsylvania is a very hot and kind of militant state. It is. So, I mean, what you want? If you're giving the people what they want and you're not allowing security to really do what they need to do to protect not only just you but everybody, because you want them to feel like, no, bring your guns, yeah, this is what we're about, yeah, and then somebody on the opposite end of that knows this and says, well, yeah, I'm gonna come too because I know they're not gonna check me and I'm gonna be able to come in there with my gun, and if I feel like doing whatever I'm gonna do, I get to do it. Now I'm sure there's going to be a change in how they move forward with these rallies and what you can bring and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they'll change it now, but why wasn't that in consideration beforehand? Is what I'm saying. Like, the security of not only yourself but of the people that support you should be your number one priority. But no, no, that wasn't it. It's, oh, they're gonna take your guns. They're gonna take your guns. They're gonna take your. No, nobody's taking anybody's gun. But there do need to be regulations. Oh, I'm sorry. You only regulate guns when we have them. But if you have them, you don't need no regulation. Oh, I forgot. That's how that works. I mean, come on. Come on. It's like enough's enough already. Again, I get it. You like who you like. You're gonna vote for who you're gonna vote for. That's fine. But the platforms and the issues that affect us most, those are the things we really need to be talking about. All this back and forth of this one's old, this one's old and senile. That one, come on, like, least of the worries. You look through the president's histories, all of them were old white men. Period. So it really doesn't even matter. That's minute compared to the actual agenda that they're pushing forward. I don't mind living here, but I definitely wouldn't mind living here under a full Christian white man state where everything is different. And I get it. For those of you who are really deeply religious, I get it. It's what you want. But I don't my religion doesn't, in my heart, that's not Christ-like. Because I mean, I never heard of Christ being that way towards others in the book I've read. I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard Christ calling for the extermination of other people. I don't. I don't recall that. When he met the woman at the well, I don't think he threw that bitch down it and hoped she drowned. I just I don't recall him ever doing that. But this is the type of stuff that they're pushing for, and they're using religion to back it. And they say, "Oh, they're coming after our kids. They're coming after our kids." You don't even protect your own children from school violence, from guns. So what are you talking about? Like, what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? Places like Alabama have just made the age of sexual consent under the age of 16, like 12 even. So, I mean, what are we saying when we're saying we're protecting children? How? How are you protecting these children? Taking away the rights of women to in which if they are raped, be it incest or whatever, you're making them keep that child. How are you protecting children and women? Please tell me how. And I get it. I'm not a fan of abortion. That's not even what I think about. Like, that's not even a thing. However, I do believe in a woman's right to choose. I don't have a say in what a woman could do with her body. Like that makes no sense. I didn't make her. Like I didn't make her. I didn't participate in any of that. So I don't have a say in what she gets to do with her body. Whether she chooses to do whatever. That's her business. That's between her and her maker. Like we don't come in between that. But what religion has done, religion has placed a hierarchy of people. There's God, man, and woman. And then, of course, for some, there's God, white, man, white woman, and then everybody else kind of falls second, right? Second, third, whatever. But yes, but this is just what a lot of people want back. They want to feel like they're on top, like they can do and say whatever. A lot of us, again, like I said, didn't grow up in those eras where you were woken up out of your sleep because somebody felt like you whistled at some white woman, or you winked at someone, or you didn't cross the street when you were supposed to, and you got snatched about your house, probably never to see your family again because you were murdered and nothing happened. No justice was given. Like, we can look at the Ahmaud Arbery's, the Michael Browns, all these things that have happened, and see that we're not far away from that type life. And I know, some people feel like, oh, that's just far fetched. Oh, but it's not. It's just not, because it hasn't happened to you yet. And once we get out of that mentality that, oh, well, until it happens to me, then I'll start to pay attention. No, you should always be paying attention, because it could be you. It could be you. All it takes is one stop for you to be a Sandra Bland and for an officer to think that you're being hostile. And while we're talking about hostile, let's just talk about this whole Democratic Party and this whole, if Joe says he's going to stay in the race and they're like, no, you need to step down. You need to step down. They want him to step down because they don't want to see a black woman president. Period. They won't come out and say that, but you might as well. Whatever she identifies with, black, East Asian, whatever. But they don't want to see it. They don't want to see it. And there's a lot of, chauvinistic men. I mean, that's how Trump was able to get this chauvinistic men out here. And there's women who support it. They don't mind being in the kitchen, baking cookies and dumb shit like that until it gets real. Because it sounds cute and great. No, it's a family unit. Sounds cute and great till he starts wailing on your ass and there's nothing you can do. You can't go to the police and press charges because nope, that won't be there for you anymore. You can't, leave and go to some place where you could be shielded from the abuse because no, that won't be there for you anymore. So, it's like really think about these things long term because the short term, it sounds, it's all entertaining, it's all fun and games until the shits get until it gets real. Then there's no talking to be had because you'll be living in Gilead. And for those of you who don't know what Gilead is, Handmaid's Tale. Because those of you who can still reproduce, you'll be just that. So I implore you all to, granted, like who you like, but do your research, please. Because your vote is your power. And to give up your power, you'd be giving up a lot. You really would. So, and yes, I know you feel like a lot of times, we don't get or we haven't still gotten what we deserve as a people. Right. And I'm there with you, of course. But there's got to be a better way. There really has to be a better way. I I I would definitely feel a way knowing what I know about the sacrifices of so many, not just the ones we know, not just the ones they only tell us about, but the others who went nameless in this fight for just to put a vote in a box. The murders that were done, the towns that were burned down for people just wanting to cast a vote. So we think that we made it and we've come to this place where we can just say, you know what, fuck it, burn it all. It's all going down anyway. Let's just continue to burn it all. What? Like, wow. Wow. I would just even think about it even a little more personal. If our parents thought of us less and felt the need not to instill in us the things that they did, making sure that we were fed, clothed, got a good education, went to pursue higher education. But if they never felt like, no, not doing it, don't feel like it, let you figure it out, where would you have been? Think about that. Where would you have been? If nobody cared to even think about your future and what it would be and kind of helped you map it out, where would you have been? It's something we just never really look at. We never understand the sacrifices that these people have done. Medgar Evers, his wife, I'm sure she didn't feel like she wanted to sacrifice her husband to a movement, nor Coretta, nor Abernathy. All these people, they didn't feel the need that they wanted to necessarily sacrifice themselves or their family to a movement, but they knew that it was something greater, that it would mean something, maybe not for them, but for the future of the people, that it would mean something, it would move something. And it's almost like we spat in it every time. on our own personal kind of agenda of where we want to be or where we are, because we've made it. It just takes one pen for all that to be over. If you read Project 2025, if you're a federal employee and they don't feel like you fit the bill because you may not align with voting for the person, if the person wins, they will fire you. And yeah, I know a lot of people think, oh, well, no, there's safeguards but there's safeguards to protect that. No, not always. Not always. Not always. Mm-mm. Nothing is in stone here. Nothing is ever in stone. Everything is just an amendment away, which is just let's make a note, put a pin in there, add that behind that. That's all. It's like when you used to write a paper and then you get the paper back and you got the little notes to maybe revise this, change this. Oh, that's a good point. I like that. That's all amendments are. That's all it takes. And they just, okay, now we're just going to add this. So it's just something to really, really think about. Like I said, I am glad that he's okay that we know of. I think it's unfortunate that that act of violence happened at his rally. But part of me knows this is not going to happen. But I hope it's more reflective and it changes the tone of even what he talks about, right? To maybe quiet the noise of violence. And if I don't win, it's going to be blood and retribution. Like, what are we talking about? Because the minute it happens, we'll be sitting up there talking about something. No, he didn't say that. He didn't mean that. He wasn't asking for people to go and do whatever they did. No, we got to start being accountable for our actions and our mouths too. So I don't know. I really don't know. I will say one thing though. The Simpsons has been on it. I wish they would tell me the lottery numbers because the Simpsons have been on it since day one. Okay? They've called it. They've been calling it. And if you've been watching all the stuff that's been happening, it has happened in earlier episodes of The Simpsons. So I don't know. But I don't know. I really, really, really don't know. Now I can get off my soapbox for a second. And yeah, sorry I was just rambling and kind of going off. But hello, everybody. Welcome. Sailor Moon, how are you? 318 Princess, what's going on? Hey, Haitian Princess, nice to see you. Jim the Goddess, hey, I when you said I was going to say something, I was like, I'll just wait till Tuesday. Then I was like, no, I'm not going to wait till Tuesday. I'll just say something now to kind of get it out of me while I can. Hey, Bohemian Beauty, what's going on? How are you? Nice to see you. Oh my gosh, would y'all stop already with the text messages? Lisa's Journey, nice seeing you. Crazy Cost 30 minutes. Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, most of the people there, there's Trump country where they were, so I don't know. What I do know and what is really nagging at me is all of the stuff that was happening last week. How the campaign was really taking a turn because they were pounding this 2025 document down people's throats. And then Epstein files were released and you see his name all over it with, rape cases and just him, being there and having communication with this person he claims he did not know or don't know, which, he always does that. That's his go-to. That's his line. That it would possibly be very, damaging to the campaign. Just like if we go back to 2016, like people like this, they don't change their motive. They don't change how they move. Just like in 2016 when he was talking about grabbing by the pussy, and they felt like, oh, I think I might have messed this up. What did they do? He start running the pay people and pay things so nothing else would get out. We discover now with the Stormy Daniels thing. Okay, y'all doing too much. With the Stormy Daniels, that yeah, he did, hush money pay this one and had this one do that and whatever, and it is what it is. It's not criminal. A little bit. It's violation against you know your your campaign, your campaign finances. Is a violation against that. Is it illegal for you to go to jail? I mean, some people have went to jail for it. So I think again, it's like picking and choosing. Because of this particular person, you're not going to throw the hammer down on him. But smaller politicians who have participated in the same type of deal have really got in trouble for the same type of stuff. Look at Kwame out of Detroit. I mean, he begged Trump for a pardon too, a few times, and got denied. Till the last time, I think he finally accepted. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I just find it to be very y'all doing too much with these damn texts. So I don't like being in groups sometimes because y'all doing too much. Because it ain't that serious. Oh my gosh. It's starting to get on my nerves. But yeah, so that's all I had to say about that. I really don't have anything else to say. Like I said, I pray that he is well. And it just grazed him. It's unfortunate that it even happened. But when you put forth that energy does come back. That energy does come back wholeheartedly. So, it's a lesson to us all. Be mindful of what you put out, because what you put out when it's fun and games, it ain't fun when Rabbit got the gun, because it could happen to you. So we just got to be mindful. Be mindful that what you put out can come back to you. So you got to be prepared for it. So when you wishing for things or bad things to happen to other people, know that that them bad things can happen to you too. So be mindful. Definitely very mindful of that. But that's all I had. If anybody had any other questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them here or in the comment section. Other than that, oh my God, y'all driving me crazy. So, but other than that, that's all I had. That's all I had, because that's all I was that was on my mind and heart to talk about. Because again, I get it. Some of us have gone through so much that we've become so annoyed with the way things are, right? And so much, want a change, right? But to what degree are you willing to make that change? Are you willing to look at everything that someone sacrificed for you to make and say, fuck your sacrifice, this is what I want to do? Or are you willing to appreciate the sacrifices that others have gone before you to do, so you can stand in a place where you can do these and make these type of decisions, and not just make the decision lightly, but really make the decision and be insightful? because you know that, yeah, this vote may count right now, but this vote has consequences for years to come. And I want to make sure that, my daughter can make the choice to go, well, if they choose to do something, whatever with their body or health reasons, they would have to, say, for instance, terminate. I want to make sure that she would be able to make that decision of on her own, and not be criminalized for making a decision that for her own body and our own health and well-being uh had to be made, because I don't think that's good. Like, real quick, my oldest brother and he goes back and forth and sends me stuff, and sometimes I think he thinks it gets under my skin because he's a supporter of Trump or whatever. And I'm like, no, it doesn't get under my skin. But then I just asked him a question and he stopped laughing and stuff. And I think it really made him think. I was just like, well, he has children who have children, so he is a grandfather. And I just like this. I just said to him, is this the type of world you want your grandchildren to live in? Like, this is the type of world you really want your granddaughter to be a part of? He didn't say anything, and then I mentioned to him, they're if they get their way, they're going to implement the draft, and who's going to be in the draft. He says, "Oh, I don't think the military is not a bad idea. It's not. In theory, it's not. It's benefits now, but you do know if draft is implemented, those benefits that people get for enlisting of their own free will, I don't believe that they'll be the same. Because we can look at the draft from before, how people came back to little or nothing, to know that there was no benefit. I mean, unless you were white, there was really no benefit for you to be in the service, because you didn't get the same that the other counterparts got. So, I mean, I don't know. And maybe time will tell. I don't know. But I ain't trying to find out, like, wait around to find out if in fact they do it. No. I definitely want to live in a place that is free, that's not Russia tainted, China tainted. I mean, we tainted enough. I don't think we need any more taint. So, I don't know. I just pray that you vote, which is most important. And not only vote for what best interests you, but think long term. Think long term. Just don't think for yourself, by yourself. Think how this vote would even affect your children, your nieces, your nephews, whomever. Because, this is the game they're playing. We gotta stop playing checkers all the time, because chess is definitely a long game, not a short one. So, yeah, but that's it. That's all. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your night. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, of course, I'll be open to them. You can always leave a comment down below or email me, which is also in my about, or see me on Instagram, Facebook, or anything like that. All right. Well, everybody, have a great night. Okay. Yeah, I guess that was telling it's time to go. So anyway, everybody have a great night. Until next time, peace out.